and welcome to Vegan View TV.
Straight from Montreal?
Yep, straight from Montreal. Today on the show we're going to talk about traveling as a vegan. Now Margaret here just got back from a big trip. She had her anniversary, what was it? How many years?
15-year anniversary. So we went to a small place in eastern Quebec called Bay St. Paul. Now, traveling to big cities is not usually a big deal for us because you can always find stuff in a big city to eat as a vegan. Mm-hmm. But traveling to a very remote location like Bay St. Paul is a little bit more challenging. So we're just going to talk about what you can do when you're traveling to places that are not in big cities as a vegan and what you're going to eat on the road.
Perfect. All right. So what do you have that you'd like to talk about first?
So basically when I travel to remote locations, I do my planning ahead of time. So I just don't pick up my bags and go and hope for the best. I do my research. So I use Happy Cow and Google and Facebook. I search for groups, like vegan groups in the area that I'm going to. On Happy Cow I do...
Happy Cow, by the way, is an app where you can find any vegan restaurant. I think it's pretty much in the world, right?
Yeah, not all the restaurants are listed, but every day there's more and more that are put on that site. So it's vegan and vegetarian, so they'll tell you whether it's vegan friendly, vegetarian friendly. So you basically go on the app, you put the place you're going to travel to, and it gives you a list of all the restaurants, what type of restaurant, what kind of food they serve, links to their websites. So I always do that ahead of time. I always look also at where the different fast food restaurants are located, because sometimes, unfortunately, not my first choice, but traveling to remote locations, sometimes you're stuck to going to some fast food restaurants on the way there because that's all that's available on the road. So we're also going to talk a little bit about what you can order at some of the fast food restaurants, if that's all you have available to you.
So what do you got written down here? You went to Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is a big coffee chain here up in Canada, and I don't know if there's a few of them in the States.
Yeah, I think they moved to the States now, yeah, so it's expanding. So Tim Hortons has a pretty cool breakfast option. So we went to Tim Hortons and we basically got most of their bagels are vegan unless it specifically says that there's cheese inside. So we got their 12-grain bagel, and then we said, can you please put lettuce and tomato and onions and cucumbers in it. My husband also got mustard. I skipped the mustard. I prefer without mustard. And
you guys should have seen the picture she put on Facebook. It was like a straight ad. It was like so close up of this delicious looking burger, and it had something in it that I never would have thought of putting in it.
Yeah, so basically we said, can you please get us a hash brown and just put it inside the sandwich.
So when I saw the hash brown in there, it's like, yes, all the grease and the salt, it just looked so delicious.
Yes. So I'm not saying it's healthy, I'm just saying if there's nothing else and you want to stay cruelty free and vegan, there's always options. If you're staying there if you're going to Tim Hortons for lunch, they have a little bit of more options available. Yes, you can get the sandwiches, but you can also get I think it's the vegetable soup that's vegan there as well, with like a side bun. So you could do that.
So it doesn't have a beef broth base.
No.
Cool.
And I believe some of their strudels are vegan now as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to know, because I'm a teacher and I got a gift certificate for Tim Hortons, and I just thought, okay, I can never use this. But now you're making me realize I actually can go there. Because I hear they don't even have soy milk yet.
No, not here in Canada. I think there's some locations, I've heard that some locations are starting with the soy milk, but I have not found one in Canada yet.
Okay, I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah.
And you also went to A&W, and you said before that you were telling me about you can have fries there.
You can have fries, and they actually have a veggie burger right now as well at A&W. You just have to make sure to tell them no cheese in the burger.
Yeah, because they'll automatically do that if people don't understand what it means to be vegan. They're like, okay.
They actually will ask you if you want bacon in it as well. Yeah, like kind of defeats the whole purpose of veggie burger, but you know, can I have a veggie burger? Do you want Bacon with that? Not really.
We
No,
really
thank
shouldn't
you.
laugh because it's not their fault that they don't know, but
Yeah.
it's just so hard for us to imagine that because we're just in this circle of people who just know, but yeah, we have to be patient and explain what the word vegan means.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, we went to A&W for lunch. It's a really far drive. It's over 4-hour drive to where we were going. So Tim Hortons was our breakfast and A&W was our lunch right before we got there at around 1. So yes, we got the fries and the veggie burger.
And of
with
course-
all the vegetables inside.
Traveling as a vegan, everybody knows that you just gotta grab the old trail mix, and trail mix can have in it all kinds of nuts. You can have a variety of, you can have walnuts, hazelnuts, almonds, raisins, dates are super healthy,
Yeah.
bits of coconut in there. So whole foods
Yeah.
that
Whole
are
foods.
you can bring with you anywhere,
Yeah.
anytime.
Well, actually, what we also do is once we get to the hotel, we find out where the local grocery store is, and we do a quick 15-minute trip to the grocery store. We usually get like a soy milk or an almond milk, whatever you prefer. We get some trail mixes, like you said. We get several different fruits, usually apples and bananas, and we bring that with us to the hotel. So the soy milk allows us to have some of the cereals that they have in the
Don't forget the
morning.
beer, the wine.
Yeah, yes.
It
Of
was
course.
like a
Yeah.
honeymoon trip for you. No, it was an
Yeah.
anniversary trip, so I'm sure you stopped. Hey, do you want to talk a little bit about that? There's an app for beer and wine. It has nothing to do with traveling, but what is it called? Barnivore or something like that? Do you know that?
Yes,
I think you
do, but I
can go
can't
to the
remember
site,
name.
and it's called Barnivore, and they're going to tell you if your alcoholic beverage
Yeah.
is vegan or not.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing to know. So,
Yeah, yeah.
anything else on your list here that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, just quick, once you're in town, there's always going to be some restaurants. If there's restaurants with pizzas or sandwiches, go in and veganize your pizza or sandwich. So that's what we usually do. We go to a local restaurant that serves pizzas, like a pizzeria of some kind, and then we just say, can you give us the pizza with all the vegetables that you have, skip the cheese. We always get really weird looks, but we don't really care.
That's the hard thing, is that we have to try, and I'm saying this about myself as much as anyone, is this need to be patient with people, because if we go out, and I've heard this from all of the vegan gurus that I admire, that we have to be a good example of what it's like to be vegan. Can't be the angry vegan, can't be the impatient vegan, because that's not going to help the cause in the end. The end goal is to get more vegans and more animals saved. So when the waiter or waitress is there, be super nice, be super patient, try and explain it, be extra apologetic, make them know that you don't
Yeah.
want to make their job more difficult.
And usually the chefs are very, very accommodating, I have to say. If you're nice and you ask politely and you explain your situation, I've never really had any problems. You just have to not be afraid to ask and state exactly what you can and cannot have, and they'll accommodate.
So when you say the chefs, do you actually ask the waiter or waitress if you can go back and talk to the chef directly, or do you communicate
Usually
through?
not, but in smaller restaurants, the chef does sometimes come out and talk to us. So yeah, it depends on a restaurant and how
Yeah.
busy they are and what the setting is, really.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is that this time we decided to take our dogs with us. So we have 2 little dogs, a Chihuahua mix and a Shih Tzu, and this was really the first time we decided to take them with us. We usually leave them with my parents and they take care of them, but we decided that it would be nice for them to take some, go on some hikes and on some walks and spend some time with us, especially that the kids were not around because we send them away to camp. So we did that, but we knew that we wanted to go on a hike to one of the national parks, and unfortunately national parks don't allow dogs, plus the hike we chose was really strenuous and we knew that our elderly dogs would not be able to do it. So we did some research ahead of time and found out that there's a local sitter on an app called Pawshake.
Pawshake, as in
Pawshake, yeah. And so we called her, we contacted her, and she took care of our dogs for like 7 or 8 hours while we were hiking.
How much did that cost?
Well, it cost us $60, so it's $40 per dog in total. Yeah, in total. So I'm not saying it's cheap. It's usually cheaper in town, but I think because it's such an isolated area, they know that they can charge a higher price. But we were okay with that. So you do your research ahead of time, and if it's too much, you can still plan on leaving the dogs with friends or with family. But if not, then it's a fun thing to do. You can take your pets with you.
Stay tuned for future episodes where Margaret will tell us about her vegan dog and her not so vegan dog, because that's also super interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody, thanks a lot for coming to our show, Vegan View TV. We hope to have more episodes for you coming up soon. And that's it for now.
Thank you.
Bye.